Hey guys, Kathy Iconis here with Yosef West. We are getting us started on this awesome app demo for Relay. I'm really excited about this one. Um, and I am just watching the attendees coming in. It takes like a second or two, so I want to just let them all pop in. Everyone come in. Um, Say hi. Add something to the chat if you want to. But I will say, if you have a question about Relay, please use the Q&A area. That's easier for me to handle and help Yosef get all of the questions answered along in there. So I'm trying to think. We got that. Definitely use Q&A. And I'm going to hand it over to Yosef to give us like everything we need to know about Relay, how awesome it is and everything.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Cool.
I'm a
Kathy, thank
dork.
you so much for having us. Everyone, thanks for making the time out of your busy schedules to join and learn more about us. Quick background on myself. I've been working in the accounting bookkeeping industry for kind of half a decade, I want to say, maybe longer, definitely longer. Uh, and kind of previous to this, perhaps you've seen me in the accounting and bookkeeping community before, because I worked at HubDoc kind of from the early days and helped build that business. So I'm very connected to, hi Cindy, great to see you too, to kind of the challenges that accountants and bookkeepers have as it relates to banking and information and the challenges around AP. Like there's all these kind of ancillary problems that come outside of just the core banking and bank feeds breaking and all that good stuff. So
Bank
let me
feeds don't break.
no, they never break. They're super
Never,
reliable.
ever.
It's all software API to API. There's no screen scraping. It's very secure.
Yeah.
Um, and so just to give you a quick kind of background on why we started this, um, everyone knows kind of HubDoc. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's like a digital filing cabinet in the cloud. Our core promise was that we would kind of centralize all your key information, and we would use what we called like fetching technology to kind of get bank statements and check images and deposit slips and all this key information to make the bookkeeping easy. And so kind of working on that business and working with, 4,000 plus accounting and bookkeeping firms, it became clear that access to financial data was like a huge challenge as it relates to actually completing the books. And even once you get the data in, the quality of that information is like low resolution. You have to like figure out what a check is because it comes through as check 1, 2, 3, 4, or like, whatever this merchant, like it's kind of messy. Banks don't really care about it. It's not a core focus for them. And so our thought was, what if you could actually solve the challenges to access to financial data and quality of financial information? How would you do it? And what we realized is that the only way to actually achieve that is to be the bank itself. So we built Relay with that in mind, with those principles of access to financial data and quality of information being core to our solution. And so Relay is banking designed for growing businesses. You can collaborate with user permissions. So you as an advisor actually get your own partner portal. You can manage staff access. You can do all this awesome stuff. 2, you can manage all your bills from your bank account, which is what every SMB really wants to do. We're the first bank in the world to actually integrate into QBO, automatically pull in unpaid bills. You have approval workflows. It's really sweet. And then you can manage all your business spending from inside Relay. So using Relay cards, you can issue cards to employees or for your team or for subscriptions or however you want to do it. It's super flexible. The nice thing is we are one of, call it 10 banks in the US that actually directly integrates into QBO with a direct bank feed. So it's API to API, it's super reliable. We deliver enhanced, enriched data. That's why people call it a quote unquote, a bookkeeper's dream. I've never been so complimented in my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And we definitely have like the best bank feed in North America, kind of by a long shot. And so, yeah, that's kind of the background. The way we do all of this is we do this in concert with a financial institution called Evolve Bank and Trust. They've been around since 1925. They have $500 million in assets. They are, when you sign up for a Relay bank account, it's really an Evolve account underneath, but you deal with Relay customer service and with Reddit customer service. And so the nice thing here is that 1, your money's safe in a financial institution. It's FDIC insured up to 250K. And 2, you get the benefit of Relay focusing on what we're great at, which is building excellent software for small business owners and the accountants and bookkeepers they work with. Cool.
Yeah.
Spiel.
That was just a little bit. I mean, yeah, so much information packed in that. So you're obviously going to be showing us all these different things.
Of course, of course. I just
Yes.
wanted to tee that up.
Yeah. Well,
And
one thing I think too that you said, and I wasn't sure that people are picking up on. So you have an AP kind of system in here.
yeah,
Okay. It's
yeah.
like, that's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. And so that like we'll go through the product.
Right.
The AP piece is like for us, selling to accounting and bookkeeping firms over the last year or so, for them when they look at Relay, it's like this is a home run. I get my own partner portal, I can manage staff access, I get a direct bank feed, I get high quality data.
Yeah.
And then what they were looking for is something that they can introduce new banking with to their clients with. And the biggest piece of feedback we got was like, it would be so amazing if you integrated like kind of AP functionality, like the bill.com like functionality
Right.
into the core banking. And so that's what we did. And it's really, really excellent.
And
Um,
I'm such a dork about like, I just like more and more things. Yeah. You're solving problems within the same area of the financials. And like, yeah, like if we're dealing with checks, why not?
yeah. And I think that's like, people I think struggle with the idea of getting people to switch banks.
Yeah.
But in truth, number one, 55% of SMBs in 2019 actually changed or added a financial institution. So that means in the next 24 months, your clients are going to change banks, whether you're involved or not.
Wow.
And two, the average SMB has 2.64 banking relationships. So if you're not part of that conversation, you're already missing out, and you're losing efficiency at your practice.
Yeah.
And so, when people think about switching, it's number one, it's already happening. Number two, treat switching like a four-letter word. You never say it. Really focus on like the core pain points that your customers have and moving them across on that basis. So we'll talk more about that. If you have
Yeah.
questions, please do reach out through the Q&A or the chat or whatever's comfortable. Yeah, let's get into it. So this is the Relay Partner Portal. We are collectively Skylar Hunting of South Boston Bookkeeping. A lot of firms sign up for Relay and test it out themselves. They make Relay their primary bank account. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty easy to use. You can sign up online inside of 10 minutes. No paperwork, no branch, no people. It's pretty cool. And as you invite clients to Relay, you have access to their banking. So you can actually switch between client accounts with your own login. So you're not holding on to clients' bank logins. I know that's something a lot of us do, but you get to avoid that liability. And you can invite clients really easily, just like you would from QBOA. So I can say, Jane at business.com and kick out an invite to Jane. Jane can then go and sign up for Relay online inside of 10 minutes, no paperwork, no branch, no people. And once the account is created, you are instantly provisioned with access to that account.
That's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
so I'll say there is one person or one group of people, the bookkeeper instead of the banker.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you mean?
Well, you said no person, no anything. Like the only interaction you're gonna, I mean, like, so the bookkeeper is pretty much bringing this to you and helping you. I mean, you have it all automated, setting up and all that sort of stuff. But it's like here we're solidifying that relationship with the client. Like, yeah, you have any questions, whatever. We're on the
100%.
same page.
Yeah, like the feedback we get from firms that are like rolling out Relay across their practice is that, hey, this makes me look like a superstar. It's another way for me to differentiate myself, right?
Right.
Like how many accountants and bookkeepers are offering free banking, like no monthly fees, no minimum balances, like you get free ACH. How many are actually doing that and saying, hey, I can provide a full end-to-end service for you?
Right.
It's pretty compelling. So the other thing we see, on that note, a lot of firms start doing is they use like an email alias. So they, we are collectively Skylar, let's spell our own name correctly, Skylar at South Boston Books. And so they just use this little plus sign to create an email alias that kicks out an invite to themselves. They go through the sign up process on behalf of the client, and then the client's bank account is all set up and ready to go. And so it just, imagine you're a small business owner, you're just trying to figure it all out, especially these days. And just being able to take that load off them is huge.
So do you go back and change their email, or you just add another user to it?
You would go back and change their email.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And so you can also manage staff access to your partner portal. So here we have Sean McGuire. He's our assistant bookkeeper. He has access to 2 clients. And so he's, I don't know, okay, let's just remove him from one of these. Yes, perfect. And so if we want to provision access, it's really easy. You don't have to call the bank. You don't have to deal with like a read-only card. You don't have to pay extra fees. You don't have to do any of this stuff. You can just select the client you want to be, you want to provision access to. You can choose the level of access you provide. So it could be just read-only if they're doing basic bank reconciliation and bookkeeping because they need access to transactions and statements. Or you could give them bill pay access. The nice thing with all of this is that anytime someone touches money inside a Relay account, there's an audit trail attached. So even if you're transferring funds from checking account A to checking account B, you can see that it was Sean that initiated that transaction. So not only is like financial auditability critical, but it also increases like financial transparency with your client and gives you the opportunity without taking on more liability to actually help your client do their kind of run their business, right? And take that active role as a partner in their business. Cool. So we've talked a lot about kind of the challenges that accountants and bookkeepers and their clients face around access to financial data. So, having the partner portal, super helpful. Having a direct bank feed, super helpful. So there's only 10 banks in the US out of 5,000 that actually have the type of connection that Relay has. And three, again, I think we've talked about the access challenges. Let's talk about the quality challenges. So inside of Relay, so now we're actually in the SMB view. So this is what you would see when you're looking at your client. And this is pretty similar to what the SMB client would see. I would say 97% the same. So when a check is deposited in a traditional FI or a traditional financial institution, it comes through as check 1234, right? Super helpful. With Relay, you actually get the payer's name, the amount, the date, who deposited it. So you can actually see that it was Stacy that deposited this check, an image of the check, as well as any notes and memos. And we actually pass this information across into QBO to make the bookkeeping really easy.
That's what I'm really excited about. Because you were saying like in the bank detail that comes over, like it's going to be there.
It's going to be there. Easy.
So cool. Well, and you were also saying like when they do the business owner would do the virtual deposit, right? Yeah. And they have to fill out some of those fields so that you get the information. And it's not like I was explaining when we talked the other day where I have like some clients where you have like a holding company so it's a different from person than the actual customer within QBO. And I'm like emailing and texting going, well, who is this? Like what invoice, all this sort of stuff. And if they just were, I mean, they're already filling out stuff when they're putting it in for the deposit. So
Helps it. Makes it easy.
Yeah.
Cool. And then card transactions. So anytime there's a card transaction that goes through Relay, we standardize and enrich the merchant data and the merchant name. So you no longer get, Starbucks 123 Winter Lane. It just comes through as Starbucks. You don't get the, 5 different Uber entities that we all see on our credit cards. It's just Uber. Makes it very clean and easy to set up like bank rules. It'll be reliable. And even better than that, is we provide the category information associated with the transaction. So when like Relay cards are MasterCards, so when a transaction goes through Relay MasterCard, we get a 4 or 5 digit category code from MasterCard, and then we place that into our own categorization engine to surface information like, Facebook is advertising. What I'd say there is in 80% of cases, doesn't really matter, right? Like Facebook, probably ads, Uber, travel, Starbucks, meals and entertainment. Where it's really helpful is with, those 20% of cases that are a little less clear. So you've got like a gas station in the Midwest that's owned by some no-name LLC. And you're like, I don't know what that is. I got to Google search. I got to ping the client, all these things.
Well, and it's always a decision between, is it a gas station or a restaurant? Like I'm trying to figure that one out.
What did they buy?
Well, yeah. Well, no, it's like, because if it's a name I don't know, then it's going like, I'm gonna have to Google it either way. But yes.
But having the category,
the code, yeah,
super helpful. And you can also see what card was used on the transaction. So inside of Relay, you can issue cards to the business. You can also issue cards to an employee. If this was my employee card, it would say Yusuf West -0760. And then in brackets, that's just like a card nickname. So we have a card for our marketing expenses, for our software, for our infrastructure, whatever it is. And we see a lot of firms actually recommend their clients issue cards if they have, say, multiple locations, a card for like location A or location B or location C to improve spend attribution. This is also helpful with like OSI lists. So if you do like an outstanding items list, instead of kind of that scramble where you're trying to figure out like who spent this money, you now know who actually did spend that money, and you can ask the relevant party questions.
Cool.
Cool. So this is accounts. So you can have up to 20 checking accounts with Relay. No monthly fees, no minimum balances. There are 3 things that are really great about this page and make life really easy. One, if I want a new bank account, I just hit add account. I name it. It's gonna be my fun account. I'm gonna choose who should have access. I'm gonna click create, and I'm instantly gonna be provisioned with a brand new bank account with an account number and routing number. So these aren't sub accounts. These aren't envelopes. These are real bank accounts. 2, if I need my account number or routing number, I don't have to like dig into the depths of Relay to find that PDF that I know is there somewhere, right? I think we've all been there. It's like, I know it's here. I haven't done this in a while.
Right. When's the
So
last time I wrote a check so I can go back and look at that to get what my routing number is, and my check account number and everything?
and so all you have to do to get your account number or routing number is just hit those little squares. You copy it. It's really easy. And then 3, we connect to 100% of US banks, whether it's Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citibank, or your local regional bank. So you can pull funds across in one business day. So coming back to that idea of, positioning Relay as a complement to their existing banking, you connect up Relay, to the Bank of America account or Citibank account, pull funds across as required for perhaps business spending, like on your cards, or for managing AP. And it makes it easy kind of as a starting point to solve your customers' pain points. And then over time, I promise you, like people will switch over from Wells and Bank of America every day. What we have here is better. It's just getting their feet wet and just kind of building that trust initially.
So can you explain using the debit card and using the credit card part
Absolutely.
and adding funds?
Yeah. So, right. So the recommended way to pull funds across is via like ACH. So when we say from external account, we link up to, your bank account at Wells Fargo, and then we pull the funds across based on what you kind of tell us to do. And then for the debit card and credit card, sometimes people want the funds to arrive instantly in their Relay account. So you can give your Bank of America debit card or your Amex, if it's your credit card, and basically we'll pull funds from that card as though it was a purchase.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. So I think, when we look at traditional kind of banking, I guess, we think the core opinion that they have is that it's actually like quite rigid from like a product perspective. Our goal is to build banking that's flexible because every small business owner is, different. We have business owners who do $7 million a year and Relay's their primary account, and they use one bank account. That's it. They don't use 19, they use one. That's it. They run the whole thing through it. And we're like, okay, cool. Do it how you want to.
Do you remind them of the FDIC thing? Like,
I think for them, it's, it's just easy. That's how they set it up. E-commerce business, like, cool. And then we have like smaller businesses that, use 7 or 15 or whatever it is. It all depends on kind of how the business owner wants to kind of operate their business. And our opinion is we just want it to be flexible, to work in a way that makes sense for them and helps them achieve their goals. So in the same way that you can have up to 20 accounts on Relay, on the cards, you can issue new cards pretty easily. So all you do is you hit this plus sign, you nickname the cards. So you might have a card for project A or location A or marketing or whatever it is. And then you can select like a card type. So it can be physical or virtual. And then you choose like a source account, like where the funds are coming from. And so the nice thing here is having those multiple accounts. Sure, I could pull the funds from an operating account, but I could also say, hey, I want to set up a dedicated account for my marketing team. I want to put $10,000 in that account. I want to provision access to that marketing team, to that marketing account, to my marketing team, without giving them access to the rest of my banking and the rest of my financial position. And this is the really nice thing about kind of having the user permission model baked into the product. So you can create that account and just show it to certain people. And because you have that separate account, you can now issue a card, which is what we're doing right now, to that marketing expenses account and issue it to people. And all they'll be able to see is that card. I know we have a couple kind of questions popping in.
No, I was asking people, what do they think so far? And I just was smirking because Andrew said, I'm drooling. Like, I told you guys, like, like, this is, at first I was like, oh, it's a bank account. But I talked to you last week and saw some of this and I'm like, this is really cool. This is,
Nice. So you can issue the card to the business or to an employee. Carolyn here is set up as a card holder, so the only thing she's going to be able to see is that card and any transactions related to that card. And then you can set up like a limit. So I can say that Carolyn should only be able to spend $250 a day. And if she's in a pinch, I want her to be able to get some cash, but I don't really want her to take out any cash.
Right, like, no, I don't want.
Yeah. Andrew just said,
yeah, he just referred his first Relay client yesterday.
It's awesome. Misa just said, I'm currently using Relay and love it. It's a great insight to have going forward. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And so once you created the card, it's not all set in stone. You can actually edit all the information. So you can change the nickname, you can change the limits, you can freeze the card, you can change the PIN, you can do it all online on the web. You can even do it from your phone. It's really, really straightforward.
Yeah. I'm like, did I miss this? I'm looking at all these things. So can you also just freezing it, do you delete it at any point? Like if someone gets fired, and what do you do?
Yeah. So yeah, it's
freeze
silly,
it first.
Freeze it first, and then you terminate it.
Okay.
I think we should just give people a big red terminate button. I think we'll eventually do that. But
well, then you add that to payroll, and you can just if you could just do the whole process for us. Awesome. Perfect. Anyway.
Sweet. And so that's cards. And the other nice thing, sometimes I don't want to reach for my wallet to get my Relay cards. So I just log into Relay, hit this little eye icon. It pops up in a window where I can see all my card details for any purchases that I might need to make, which is really nice.
So what about does it have the address, the billing address on there too, or what?
It does.
You said card details, so it's the number and then the CID and stuff.
Exactly. Expiry, CVV, and card number.
Yeah, you know the actual acronym. Yeah. Versus,
I hope I got that right.
Yeah, you got it. But yeah, I'm like, I was wrong. Anyway.
Cool. And so payments, at a base level, everyone gets free ACH, domestic wires are $10, international wires are $50, checks are free, all incoming payments are free, so you actually don't get charged for any of them. And the really nice thing is that we integrate directly into QBO to automatically pull in unpaid bills. So we pull in the payees and the unpaid bills associated with them. You can set up approval rules based on amount. And reconciliation is easier than any other product on the market today because we are actually the bank account. And I'll explain that as we go through it. So once you've integrated with QBO, you have this action items area. And we have this bill from Graphics by Cindy for $675. We can see all the key details related to the bill. If we need to log in or see the transaction inside of QBO, we can do that. I'm hoping my login held because I logged in just before we got started. So let's see if it's going to be nice. Yes, QBO, you're being good to me. This is awesome. And so you can see all the key details related to this bill, the amount, if there was any attachments, they would be there.
Ignore the schedule online payment button.
Yeah. And
because you come back over here.
Yeah, it all looks good. Soon you'll actually be able to see the bill itself inside of Relay.
Oh, cool.
It's really handy on the if you're doing any approvals or wanting to pay it or whatever. And so I see all the details. I want to pay this bill, but actually I can't right now because an approval rule applies to this bill. So I see the submit for approval button. So what I can do is I can submit it for approval. And this is what it would look like for me. I can see that it's now awaiting approval. I can send a reminder if they're taking their time and they haven't approved it yet. And then once the bill is approved, this is what it looks like. So I can see the status is now changed to approve. I can actually go ahead and initiate a payment. So I can pay it by ACH, domestic wire, international wire, check. The nice thing is when, if you're paying, like say your digital strategy, this new vendor, and they're a new vendor for you, you actually don't have their payment details and you don't want to send them a check, you can actually just request their payment information. Mm-hmm. So you provide, your digital strategy, Sonia Williams here, and say, hey, can you go and request their ACH details so that I can pay them by ACH? And so we'll actually go ahead and do that for you to make it really easy, because I know how critical it is. Number one, it speeds up payments just to avoid kind of that risk of using checks.
So yeah, we have a question here of, can we eliminate the bill.com for bills payment since Relay can do it? And can we pay by quick pay Zelle as well?
So lots of folks do use us as a replacement for bill.com.
Right.
I think if you're doing, 100 plus bills per month, um, I don't, you're probably better off going with bill.com, to be perfectly honest.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so definitely people do replace us with bill.com. Can you pay via quick pay / Zelle as well? No, so you need to fund your Relay account and then make payments through Relay primarily. Cool. And so we've kind of seen like the approval rules in action, the automation of centralizing all the bills in action. And then the other really cool thing is once I initiate this payment, so we can see here that this bill is approved. I'm going to initiate, send an ACH. Once we do this, we're going to change the status of this bill in Relay from approved to payment in progress. We're going to go into QBO and actually like close the bill and like mark it as paid.
Mm-hmm.
And then the really nice thing is that once this ACH for $425 on the Relay side settles, we'll send across a bank feed transaction that just matches up against that paid bill.
Right.
And so no clearing account, none of that messiness. It's really, really slick and just dead easy.
Yeah. And so what, with when you set up bill.com, you get that clearing account and everything goes through there and they'll pull out, if you do 5 payments in a day, they're going to pull out that total amount. But you guys are the bank, so it's not the pulling out of anything. You have each individual transaction. So now there's not a need for that clearing account. And that's what you're saying there. I mean, and you were saying if there's more, well, someone's asking, why would you say that if there are more than 100 transactions per month, bill.com is better? I mean, I would add on like, I know you guys have like some approval stuff and whatever. It's like once you get to enterprise like level almost of needs of payables, maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Yeah, so I will answer that in 1 second. Just on the reconciliation piece, that's exactly why, right? Because we actually holding the funds, right? But it's also because we are the bank feed, right?
Yeah.
Bill.com's reliant on another bank to actually like be the feed, and so they do have to do that one large pull for a bunch of bills, basically.
Well, and like, what happens if the check doesn't get deposited after a certain period of time?
Yeah, so it expires after 90 days, and then we send across like a returned kind of check transaction into QBO.
Okay. I mean, it's been a while since I've done it in bill.com, but sometimes you have to like go in and check and make sure and then request that the funds come back and all. You're rolling your eyes.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. I had a call earlier today literally about this exact subject. So I'm
Really?
like, I feel relatively like if I hadn't had that call, I might not feel as well versed, but I feel relatively good.
Well, it's been a while since that's happened to me. So, I mean, yeah, that was one thing that I was always checking on bill.com. And then something else that other bookkeepers don't always do is reconcile that bill.com account because you don't know if it's working all the time or this is just, you're getting rid of that whole issue.
Because you're basically at the foundation of it all, right? Okay, so to answer Tara, to answer your questions, I think the complexity around the approval rules. So today, we'll actually let's go take a look. So it's based on amount today. So when you create a new rule, you can set up a minimum approval amount and maximum. You can choose who should approve it, and so it's an and, right? So here we would need both Stacy and Carolyn to approve this bill before it's paid. And what's coming, like say in the next 30 days, is the ability to actually set up more kind of approval logic. Is I guess would be the right way to say it. So you would say first I want Stacy to approve it, and then Carolyn. Or I would like either Stacy or Carolyn to approve the bill. So you get more of a multi-stage experience, and you get like waterfall approvals as well baked in. So that's where we've kind of gone deeper around amount. I would say the 100 transactions or more, primarily because I would assume that there are some things you might want to have in terms of approval rules. And so maybe this doesn't apply for some of your clients. I just prefer to kind of communicate around it. Like vendor-based approval or category-based approvals. Those would be kind of the two. that we don't do today. And so in certain scenarios that we've seen where someone's doing 100 bills plus per month, they might be better off going with like a bill.com in that context.
Yeah. And coming into all of those details, then there's a need for that extra fee that per transaction and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Tara, does that line up for you?
Let's hope so. I mean, I know that there's going to be, yes, things. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be situations with businesses that have, more than 100 transactions that it is a pretty simple thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like that generically when you get into the 100, yeah, you're going to have some more issues.
More complexity, yeah.
Yep.
And we'll get there, but just where we're starting today is really kind of the 20 to 50 bills per month is like
right.
a good kind of range.
Or how about the clients that I still have? And it's hard, it pains me to say I've been a bill.com user since for 10 years now or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you guys know, I've cut back on the bookkeeping clients so I can do more training. So I have just a few, and the two people I have on bill.com, they barely have any bills. And it's I get my bill.com bill every month, and I'm like, why am I paying this for 2 transactions?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's
yeah. Cool.
And moving on.
Yeah. So our plan is basically to have for this piece of functionality is to offer a bit of a kind of a freemium model where you get a few bills per month that are free, and then it's $25 per business per month for kind of the automation, centralizing all the bills, actually having approval workflows and audit trails baked in, and just making reconciliation really easy. Originally, we planned to start charging for this kind of at the beginning of COVID, but we kind of thought that was bad juju. So we held back and kind of set the expectation with folks that this is how we're thinking about it. If that makes sense to you, start using it. We'll come back.
What about the number of users? Does that matter?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it's a flat $25 per business, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with a bill.com or any comparable, it's $40 per user, I want to say.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. So
and then having the accountant console, I don't even understand the pricing necessarily anymore. Also because I've been grandfathered and yeah, I can't figure it out on my side. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically kind of how we're thinking about it. You can manage all your integrations. You can actually manage your bank feed from inside of Relay, which is kind of cool. You can manage all your bill pay functionality here as well. We have a lot of clients that have multi-entities, multiple entities. And so they kept asking us to hook up each business to their email address. And we're like, okay, this is dumb. We should make this easy. And so they can actually just register their business, if they have multiple businesses under the same login, they can do it really easily from inside their settings area. You get real.
So they can see kind of the accountant, something similar to that for them.
Exactly. Yeah. And
okay.
They can just switch between their business accounts really easily. And then we have real two-factor authentication. So if you use Google Authenticator, LastPass, Authy, we generate a one-time password, and it's great kind of second layer of security. And then we track all session activities. So you can see location, when someone's logged in, all of that good stuff.
So my dork thought right now is oh, so we can actually use two-factor authentication because you have the individual logins and can give rights to them versus telling my clients, yeah, I need to know your password and your your security questions and everything.
Exactly.
It's secure, don't worry. I have it saved, I wrote it out somewhere. Oh,
what was your uncle's cousin's first car?
Oh my God. Yes, I get the craziest questions. Everyone does.
Cool. Does anyone have any questions about Relay that I might be able to answer while we're still in product?
I don't know. Yeah, come on, guys. More questions.
Would you sign up for this? Why wouldn't you sign up for this?
Yeah, so I think you went over pricing, but I missed it. I'm checking your website and there's no info on pricing.
Yeah, it's because it's not live, basically. So this is the case. I'm just being honest. So basically, like when you sign up for Relay, you get a free bank account. There's like no monthly fees on the accounts. Like you get free ACH. You can issue cards as many as you want. There's no cost to that at all. The only thing that we're considering charging for and planning to charge for is like the bill pay automation. So when you integrate into QBO, when you set up approval workflows, that's what we want to charge for. And the price would be like $25 per business per month. And that's like an entirely optional add-on. If you think you see value in it, use it. If you don't, cool, like enjoy using Relay. The rest of the product is free.
So basically, you're giving us a heads up that there will be a fee in the future, so we're not feeling like duped into something. But for right now, there's not.
There's not. Yeah.
And there's still, no matter what, free banking.
Yep. You got it.
So I'll help clarify too.
Thanks.
No. So the card stuff, like for me, you were also, it's kind of handling the expenses. I mean, do you consider an expense report? I mean, it's not an actual report, but you see what each individual person's like spending and call them out on not getting information or whatever, right?
Yeah, so you can basically produce like statements for each card.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you have a card that's issued to an employee, you can actually get a list of all of those transactions. Even in the QBO like bank feed, you'll see that it was, Henry Fuse that spent this money because it was on that card. So spend attribution is just a lot easier
Yeah.
because the data is actually provided to you.
Yeah, and the data's in, you said it in the bank detail part, because I did ask you that question. So does it, the separate, are they sub accounts on there? But you said it was just one, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's one account. Let me see if I can just find. Got here. I'm just going to post a. Just going to send this to everyone. A link if people would like a more personalized demo or have questions. That'll do it.
Well, and also I want to know what everyone's favorite feature is so far, or what they've seen in here, because like I said, there's more than what you think of on the surface. Like once you get in here, it's like, oh cool, what's all going on in here? Me and my dork mode.
I mean, if people would love to kind of learn more or sign up for Relay, I put a Calendly link inside the chat there, or you can go to our website and go to relayfi.com. We have a dedicated page for accountants and bookkeepers because this is definitely something we focus on. And so just go ahead and sign up. And it's really easy to get started.
And so some other things, since we have more time, talking about the traditional way that QBO started the bank feed, right? So they would get your login information and then go and scrape the data. What does scraping necessarily mean?
Yeah, so this is what we did at HubDoc, right? That's how we would get bank statements. And so what it would mean is that we would build a script that would basically have a number of steps that we would go through to access the information in the bank. So we'd say, okay, this is a Bank of America screen scraping kind of piece of software. We called them robots. I don't know why. Maybe it sounds cooler. And so we'd build this little like script for Bank of America. And so we would go to the bankofamerica.com like login page. So that's step one. Step two is enter the login credentials. Step three is we'd hit the login button. Step four is you're now on the dashboard and you go and find the statements. So you look for like the statements kind of text or selector or something in the code. And this is literally the process you go through. And
Really?
100%. And the reason these things break all the time is because you can imagine they just move the login button, or they change the color, or they change the name of it, or they update the website. And it just, it doesn't work. And we were really good at it at HubDoc, I'll tell you. And it worked like, it worked 70% of the time, basically. Right. And that's kind of what we see with bank feeds today. We've got a great question.
Yeah, the question came in.
Okay, if the bank account is free, I assume Relay makes money off of the fees the merchant pays. Yep, exactly. So when Relay customers spend money using a Relay card, the merchant is paying a fee to MasterCard and the bank to actually receive those funds. We get a healthy portion of those merchant fees. So there's no cost to our customers. We receive kind of money outside of that. Two, do we offer interest on the account? We don't. Kind of the kind of low interest rate environment that we're in today, I'm not sure how valuable it is.
Right. I was just thinking about that, like putting money in a savings account. Do I get like a 1/4%? What would
Yeah,
I get?
that's what I get on my personal
Yeah.
savings account, right? And it's like, oh, here's a high interest savings account. I couldn't believe it. So we don't offer interest on the account.
But you offer up to 20 accounts? Is that what you were saying?
20 accounts, no monthly fees. I mean, the cost that you would have to pay Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo to
Right.
get that many accounts and have that flexibility is probably larger than, I'm guessing, what you would get in interest if you were to use one of their high interest savings account.
So what if, like in your example, marketing has an account, right? And you give them money. Are they able to overspend on it? Are they able to, yeah, what happens at that point?
Yeah, so there's no
Like limit?
overdraft,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh,
So once they hit, there's less money in the account than what they're trying to spend, the card will get declined.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have traditional checks?
So we do like outgoing checks, like we do like bill pay checks. You don't get traditional checks with Relay. So that's something that we're hoping to find a solve for. We're thinking about like kind of like a virtual checkbook where you could just like print out a check and hand it to someone. Yeah, but you don't get like a.
And that's just like the case if someone needs something right then, right? Versus it being mailed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. How long does it usually take for it to get mailed?
So
when we're not getting rid of mailboxes and
right.
stuff. But, yeah.
So, like 5 to 6 business days.
Okay. It's always the business days.
It arrives in 5 to 6 business days, basically.
Another question. When you do the ACH transfer, does it take a little longer when it's over like $10,000 or over a limit or anything?
No.
Okay.
So essentially, like,
because you already know they have money.
Well, we know they have the money. That's definitely part of it. The other piece here is when we're working with a business that works with an accountant or bookkeeper, there's a higher level of trust.
Okay.
So our fraud risk is materially lower in that context. So when a bank is saying, hey, anything above 10 grand, we're going to take it slow, it's because they're managing their kind of like fraud risk in that context. And from our perspective, we know the accounting and bookkeeping community, we know the quality of businesses that come through. And so we manage our risk accordingly, and we can be more thoughtful about that and more nimble than, Wells Fargo or Bank of America can.
Okay. So I really don't want other bookkeepers to screw it up for us. So
Basically.
just letting everyone know that watches this later on, don't screw it up for us. Please. Because that's always one of the things, like I'll get back of like, oh, it's taking longer than it was supposed to. I'm like, well, it's more. Yeah, you have that risk factor and stuff that goes into play there.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other big questions that people usually ask you?
The big question is like, how do I convince my clients to switch?
Yeah.
That's the big thing. There's some like, sometimes there's trepidation about having a conversation about someone's bank account, which makes sense. Like, I think if you look at kind of other kind of areas like Australia or the UK, that's something that they're a bit ahead of the curve on compared to us here in North America, where they often have that conversation because they understand how critical the bank account is to actually the bookkeeping stack, because it's really the nerve center of it all. And so that's the question we get a lot. And what we say is kind of reiterating kind of what I shared a little bit of earlier is like switching is a 4-letter word, kind of don't talk about it. Really talk about the customer's pain point. So in the same way that you get them to switch to Bill.com, you're getting them to switch part of their banking, right? That is happening. It's just you're positioning it differently. And so, with Relay, we highly recommend people say, hey, let's use Relay as a complement to your existing banking. So we can manage your AP, we can centralize it all. So it's not, in Venmo, PayPal, checks, online bill pay, whatever it is. And
you could tell with both of us when a question comes in because we both like delay a little bit. We're reading and trying to talk at the same time.
Guilty.
I was doing it too. Like we're both doing it.
And so the whole kind of piece here is really positioning it as a complement, solving the customer's pain point, because they want those things to be solved 100%. Because no one if any of us are asked like switch bank accounts, the thing we think of is going from our like mediocre experience with Wells Fargo to another mediocre experience at Bank of America, right? That's our frame. And we need to be broken out of that frame because there's actually value outside of kind of that kind of world that we've lived in previously.
Before you get to that question, I have one. Sorry. I better not lose it either. I'm like, dang it, you're right there. Oh, okay, fine. Go to that question. I lost it.
Okay. Switching, compliments, solving customer pain points.
Oh, what is like way to like dip your toe into it. If they just add a bank account, like maybe for a department or something, couldn't they just do it like that?
Yeah.
Be like, hey, or, instead of one of the individual credit card apps out there, whatever, and be like, hey, we want, this person to have a card or this amount of money and be able to manage it and all that sort of stuff. Let's try just that. And then it'd be like, oh, this is really easy. Let's add some more to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you try Relay and you're like, you know what, this doesn't work for me, you send us an email, you close the account, and you're done, right? Mm-hmm. There's no fees. There's no switching costs. Like, we're good, friendly, nice people. We're not gonna be like Comcast, making it hard for you to cancel. Like, we want people to use the product that like it and see value. And so getting started is really just so easy.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I'm actually gonna, can I steal that? Can I borrow it?
Sure.
Okay, well.
I mean, I got it from talking to you. You might not have said it explicitly, but I felt like that was the.
Yeah, that's a great idea, right? Like, you could create a separate it's a Relay account dedicated for your teams and your different departments or whatever it is.
Right. It's just a way to dip your toe into it without necessarily switching everything, because you said it's a 4-letter word. You can't, you got to slowly convince some people these things. So now we have questions coming in.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Will Relay offer credit cards or financing options at some point? Credit card, yes. That is part of our plan. So today it's a Relay debit card. You get MasterCard zero liability policy. So if there's unauthorized charges, you're covered. But yeah, we do plan to offer like a credit card in the future. In terms of financing options, I think that's something we're still trying to figure out. I think initially we'll find like a high quality partner to be able to deliver like great financing options to you and your clients.
Cool. And how long have you had Relay now?
We've been around for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's only going to get bigger and better, right?
Exactly. I would hope so.
I know so. Let's get this other one.
Okay. Andrew says, so if you can't write a check, how do you pay your landlord? What info do you need to get them paid? If you normally just drop the check at their office. Got it. So number one, you can send out a check using Relay. So you have a check option. You can mail out a check to your landlord. All you would need to actually do that is their name and their address. And we'll mail that check out to your landlord, and that'll all work. If you'd prefer to actually pay them by ACH, you can also do that. So you can provide their name, their email address, and kind of some business information. And then you just check a box to say, request payment details. And then we actually reach out to your landlord and say, hey, Andrew wants to pay his rent this month. Can you please enter your payment details so we can make that payment to you? So it's really easy. So you do have both options. Even though you don't get like a traditional checkbook that you hold in your hand, you can send out checks, and we make that easy to do both from the web and our mobile apps.
And I would assume that there's so many of us that are working from home right now, they're not actually walking into the landlord's office unless you have the mask on and everything to do that. Right now, it's just, yeah. If you still have an office to
Yeah.
pay rent to, it's probably just easier to do it virtually.
Yeah.
Just send it off, and you guys can put the stamp on there
Yeah.
for us. Don't even have to do that.
Exactly. It's easy.
Like back in the day when I have to have the little like sponge to get everything the envelopes closed. Yeah, fun times.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um it's such a chatty demo that we have. This has been one of my most favorite fun ones, being able to interact and really go through all this stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And so how easy is it to become a partner? How do you suggest people get started? All that stuff.
It's super easy. So I'll throw this link in the chat. Where's the chat? It's hidden.
Control C, Control V.
Oh. Thank you. So if you hit that link and you just sign up, someone from our team will reach out. We're like a friendly kind of group.
No, you're not.
No, definitely not. No, we're very okay. A couple more questions. Yeah, so you can go ahead and sign up at that link. Someone from our team will reach out. Yeah, it's so easy to get started. I think we got an email today from a business owner that signed up. He's like, look, candidly, I spent more time finding the documents I needed than actually just applying, right? Like that's how easy it is. It's like 5-10 minutes and you're done.
Do you get the people like, I know there's another app I use, not bank related or whatever, that I'm like, I'm scared like I'm missing something because it's so easy. I'm like, did I just do it? Really? There's nothing else?
It's funny, right? Like because of our experiences opening bank accounts where you have to like get all your documents and then you walk to the branch, then you got to wait for your appointment and you got to talk to the person. Feels like there's all this meat on the bone that's happening, right? There isn't. It's just, there isn't, right? You break away kind of all the administrative hassles and just think about like, what are the documents you had to provide? It's the same.
But I don't get the lollipop from the bank now, right?
That's true. That we do not send a lollipop. I know it's a deep flaw. It's a deep flaw.
I save how many hours, but I don't get the lollipop.
So this is why people still use checks. It's the exact same logic. It's that. Okay, a couple more questions.
Yeah.
So using Andrew's example, if I'm the landlord, is there a mobile app to deposit the check? There absolutely is. So you can do a mobile check deposit through Relay. You can do up to $40,000 per day. We're actually working on increasing that because we do have a lot of real estate customers who are dealing with much larger amounts. Yeah, 100%. Is there a referral program? So we're in the process of formalizing like a partner program. So today there isn't kind of a referral kind of structure, but in the future there will be.
And I guess you're talking about the real estate and stuff like that. That's where that having multiple accounts, multiple entities is really helpful for them, right?
100%. Yeah.
So are there any businesses that you don't work with?
So cannabis,
Yeah.
crypto, gambling.
The traditional ones that most people have issues with?
Yeah, credit repair businesses, you can't work with them. Yeah, I think those are the main ones.
But nonprofits are fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dog grooming. I'm just coming up with stuff now.
Yeah, dog grooming. We've got dog groomers, we've got realtors, we've got churches, we've got nonprofits, e-commerce.
And you integrate with Xero and QBO.
Yeah.
Are there any other ones that you do, or?
In terms of like a general ledger?
I guess. I don't even, do any of the other ones have bank feeds really?
Not really. Yes, okay. You can use Relay with like a Wave, definitely, or anyone that uses like the Plaid network, because we integrate directly into the Plaid Direct network. So when you want to link your Relay to Gusto or TransferWise or whatever, you just log into your Relay account through those platforms.
Okay.
And so it's really easy. Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, I'm like, we got 4 more minutes left. Do we want to end early? Do we want to make some jokes? Do we?
I think we can end early. If anyone has any questions, you can reach out to me directly. I'm always available. And Andrew just said, yeah, my client was getting the runaround from Chase. That's why I sent them to Relay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that that happens, especially after kind of the spring that the banks had.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for spending time.
Yes. Thank you, Joseph, for showing us this and yeah, opening our eyes to how much easier banking could be, because I just assumed I had to deal with all the crap that I deal with. Like, just the fact I'm all excited about the bank detail line actually meaning something now and not having to dissect it and all that stuff. So super cool. Thank you so much. I will have the video up on the website within a day or two, so you guys can share it with all of your friends, family, kids. I don't know, anyone, everyone. How about that? Right?
Great.
Yeah. Let's just get the word out how cool this is and how it's really is something that we should be looking at. So thank you again.
Everyone.
And see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.